Today we have Nathan Hirsch. He is an entrepreneur and expert in remote hiring. Most recently, Nathan co-founded freeup.com in 2015. It had an initial investment of 5,000 USD and he scaled it up to a 12 million per year in revenue. It was then acquired in 2019. Today, Nathan is the co-founder of Outsource School. This is a company working to educate entrepreneurs on how to effectively hire and scale with virtual assistants through formulas and playbooks. Nathan has appeared on over 300 podcasts and is a social media personality. He loves sharing advice on scaling remote businesses. Really looking forward to catching up with Nathan today. I hope you enjoy the show. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Agency Life. My name is Clodagh, and today on the show we have Nathan Hirsch from Outsource School. Welcome to the show, Nathan.
Thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here.
You've got such a distinguished past for somebody quite so young, Nathan. Tell us about your journey so far up to date, and how did you get into this crazy world of agency life?
Yeah, so it's funny. I started off in college buying and selling people's textbooks. I was competing with my school bookstore to the point where I actually got a cease and desist letter from my college telling me to knock it off. So that was my first glimpse into being an entrepreneur. And from there, I decided to try selling other products. I had sold some books on Amazon. I did a lot of trial and error before finally coming across baby products. And from there, my business really took off and I needed to hire people. So I started hiring college kids who turned out to be super unreliable. I started hiring full-time US employees and wasted a lot of money there. And then a buddy of mine introduced me to virtual assistants, and that changed my life. And I hired my first VAs on Upwork, Fiverr, hired some great ones, made a ton of mistakes, and did a lot of trial and error, spending years figuring out a really good hiring process, which I now teach today. But we also, after that Amazon business, we started a marketplace similar to an agency that we scaled to 8 figures in 4 years with no office, no US employees, just me, my business partner, 35 virtual assistants in the Philippines with great standard operating procedures, which I'm sure we'll talk about. And we were acquired at the end of last year. So once we were acquired, we just set out on a mission to teach other entrepreneurs how to hire A players, how to do it quickly, how to create great systems and processes for their business, also giving them access to our systems and processes, and how to reduce turnover and reduce VA issues. And that's really how we got into Outsource School. So that's the short, long version.
Amazing. That is such a great service. I know I've worked with VAs in the past, highs and lows, as you know, and that is a common thing that I've had a conversation with many agencies, especially over the last few months, about the importance of getting some help in on their business. But a common mistake or a common complaint that they give me is, I don't have the time to train them. So that is obviously what Outsource School does. Tell us more about the kind of service you provide, and specifically how agencies could use this particular service.
Yes, we have a lot of agencies involved. So we don't actually provide the virtual assistants. That's what my other business did. You can go anywhere and find virtual assistants. But what we do is for our members, and it's $9.97 to enroll in Outsource School per year, you get access to our exact hiring process. So the exact interview questions we ask,
Nice.
Onboarding templates, SOP templates, meeting templates, all of this with real examples that you can implement into your business quickly. We teach you how to not only hire A players, but how to do it fast. And you can apply that to any business you start going forward. Then once you are able to hire A players, the fun begins, because we give you access to our library of SOPs, how to hire VAs to get you on podcasts, run your inbox, do your bookkeeping. You can plug these into your business. Plus, we give you a tool to create and share your own SOPs with your team, with our members, with whoever you want to. And then lastly, it's all about reducing issues. Turnover kills businesses, as do other issues that pop up. We have systems to prevent issues. We have a community where we do live coaching calls to help you avoid issues. And we're there to support you in whatever you need and whatever issue comes up along the way. So all of that and more is included in an Outsource School membership.
Brilliant. Okay, so it's all the tools to get the VA up and running and doing, and not spending all that time figuring out how to train them, what to train them on. They're actually going to give them those SOPs to get started straight away. What an incredible idea. I bet you are feeling quite very happy with yourself right now, especially what's been going on in the world. What's the impact been in the last few months with Outsource School?
Yeah, I mean, I would never say that I'm happy with everything that's going on right now. I mean, the thing is, we started it this year, right? Like my last company was acquired in November. We started Outsource School in March. We actually launched the first week that COVID hit, which is
No
a very
way.
weird time to start a business. So
that is a weird time to start a business.
yeah, I mean, we're growing. We've got 300 plus members. We've only been around 4 or 5 months at the time that we're recording this. I don't really have anything to compare it to, right? Like there's no last year's data or anything like that. So things are going well. I mean, I think even before COVID, the world was going more and more remote. People that hire virtual assistants have a huge advantage over people that are only hiring US or paying top dollar for people. And so I think that COVID has just kind of accelerated the move towards remote working. But I think we were all going in that direction anyway, especially agencies.
Yeah, definitely agencies, without a doubt. They're probably very I know a lot of agencies were so quick to switch because they're flexible, they're open, they had working from home policies, or some staff worked in place. But if someone's listening to this right now and they have it in the niggle at the back of their head and they're going, God, I think I might need a VA, but I don't think I have enough work. When is the right time to hire someone?
So the thing you have to understand is you're never going to hire someone on the exact right day that you're supposed to hire someone. You're either going to hire someone too early or too late. And one of the beauties of hiring virtual assistants is you don't have to hire people full time. A $5 an hour or 5 hour a week virtual assistant costs you about $1,300 a year. And that gets you over 260 hours of your year back, about 6.5 weeks of your year back. So a small hire can make a big difference in your overall year. You can hire 1 hour a month. You can hire full time or 30 hours a week, whatever it is. But you have to decide, do you care more about the opportunity cost, or do you care more about the risk of losing a little bit of money? So if I started Outsource School this year, I hired a few part-time virtual assistants before we had any revenue, before we even launched. So my mindset and what I've learned from my other businesses is if I don't hire those VAs early, I'm going to start making revenue, and then I'm going to wish I hired them. And my business in that first 6 months, first year is going to move slower. So there's an opportunity cost to not hiring early and to waiting too long. Now, on the flip side, just because I sold a company doesn't mean that every idea I come up with is going to be a good one, right? Like I could have started Outsource School and it just flopped. So the risk is, if that happened, I would have been out hundreds, maybe a few $1,000s, relatively affordable. So you just have to decide, do you care more about missing out on the opportunity cost, or do you care more about that hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars? For me, I'm always focused on the opportunity cost.
Yeah. If an agency owner is sitting listening going, geez, I wouldn't know what to give. So what are the types of digital, what are the types of tasks that are taken off the plate of a digital agency owner that could be possible for them?
Yeah, I mean, everything from lead generation to scheduling social media posts to having a VA monitoring inbox, booking meetings. I have VAs that take Zoom calls with clients. Like, you can get really advanced when you get in there, but there's really no part of your business that can't be outsourced. I mean, for example, we have a bookkeeping formula. Every company in the world, whether you're an agency or not, needs to do bookkeeping. And if you only have a US bookkeeper or a US accountant, and I'm not saying to have a VA do your taxes, that's different, but you're going to drastically overpay to do a lot of the billing type work. So free up. We were billing $200,000 a week to our clients. We had a VA who was processing all of that, creating the reports, handling any refunds or issues that came in. He had a team underneath him as well. And he would still pass over the data to our accountant to do the taxes and the tax strategy and stuff like that. But I wasn't paying my accountant to do every little transaction, every little thing. So there's really no limit on what you can do with a virtual assistant.
And I'd say if you're listening to this, you do a list of all the things that you maybe start with a task list of what fills your week, what fills your day, what fills your week, what fills your month. Is that some of the things that would be a good place to start if you're a business owner, agency owner, and you're going, what do I do? You know?
Yeah, so that's really the beginning of our program. We help you, first of all, understand the different levels of hiring because you got followers, you got doers, and you got experts, but then understanding what are the certain tasks that fit into each category. Because if you don't know how to run Facebook ads, you don't want to hire a follower to run Facebook ads. And to me, the VAs are the followers. So you need to understand, all right, here are all the things I need to get done. Where do I need to hire the experts? Where do I need to hire the followers? Where do I need to build SOPs for? And we help you map all of that out.
Oh, fantastic. And it sounds like you could have more than one VA at a time. Is that something that you see with agencies or with businesses?
Yeah, I mean, with FreeUp, by the time we sold it, we had 35 full-time VAs and about 10 part-time VAs.
Imagine. And so if an agency had maybe somebody, because there's the different, I talk about the different pillars of an agency. So we have people, we have growth, services, sales, marketing. Could there be a VA in each of those departments as an agency? Could they have multiples for themselves as an agency?
Yeah, I mean, the last thing you want is to have 35 VAs that all report to you, right?
Yeah.
You want to have team leaders and assistant team leaders. And so we had different teams. We had a customer
Oh,
service team. We had a
great.
social media team. We had a billing team. We had a marketing team. We had a blog team, a partner team. So each team had its own team leader. Some of them, like customer service, runs 24/7. And when you become a large company, so we needed a morning team leader. We needed an afternoon team leader. We needed a weekend team leader. So you can break it up. You don't have to do all this
Oh,
on
I
day
see.
one. I didn't just wake up one day and hire 35 VAs. I started off with 5 hours a week and I increased from there and then hired a second one. But yeah, eventually you want to departmentalize.
Yeah. And then how about the communication of working remote? I think that's something people have a lot of fear of as well, about sometimes communicating in a different time zone, communicating in a different language, communicating a different culture. What have been the sort of advantages and I guess progressive moves in that area over the last few years that make communication better? What are your tips?
Yeah, so there's two parts of this, and we actually have a communication playbook that's part of the membership in Outsource School. But part of it is setting the expectations up front and figuring out a schedule that works for you, so you don't have people working 9 o'clock at night and you have to wake up and go do that. And you can do set schedule, you can do hybrid. Like I have a VA who works 8 to 12 set schedule and then 4 hours a day flexible. And I don't care because I can just talk to her in the morning. Or you can just do check-in points. Hey, your schedule is completely flexible, but every day from 10 to 10:30, you have to check in with me. So you always know when the next time.
Got it.
The
Good
VA.
idea.
So just remember, it's a lot easier to go from set to flexible. If you have someone on a set schedule, you can go to them and say, hey, now half your hours are flexible. But if you have someone flexible, it's very hard to get them on a set schedule and keep them happy and all that. Now, the second side of that is you need multiple communication channels. So we recommend in our playbook, Slack, email, and an emergency channel. Usually that's Viber or WhatsApp. So Slack is for day-to-day communication. Any meetings, any type of conversation with your VAs in the day, that's where you communicate with them. Email is for responses within a business day. And Viber is for emergencies only. If I hire a developer and something crashes on the weekend, I need a way to get a hold of them. They're not going to be on Slack. They're not going to respond to their email. So I need an emergency channel that they're actually going to respond to. At the same time, I don't want to overdo that channel and just be vibering them every single day over small things. So breaking down these channels and making sure that everyone is using the channels the correct way is the key to communication in your business.
Such a good idea, because obviously the phone is on them all the time, and you set the parameters going, look, I'm only going to contact you on that emergency if any of the following happens, that it is a genuine emergency and you don't abuse it, right?
Right, exactly.
A lot of the time when I'm working with agency owners, Nathan, I find it difficult. I use a child analogy. I don't have any children, but I've watched enough of them going on around the world to know that when you're trying to get the toy off them, you have to give them a sweet. You know, you're going, give me the toy, here's a sweet. Or, you know, if you want to take something, you've got to give. When it comes to being a business owner, a lot of business owners are bogged down in the tasks and they can't see, well, what would I do if I didn't do all this bookkeeping and data and lead generation and all the things that fill their diary? What in your experience working with 300 new companies in the new business that you have, what do you feel you've seen that successful business owners focus on when they let go of the tasks that could be farmed out to another person?
So to me, it's all about, you want to give ownership of the task to other people. I don't want to just hire a VA and say, hey, do the task. I want to say, hey, you own this task. You own the SOP
Right.
for this task. It's your job to make this SOP better, brainstorm ideas to make this system more efficient, better. And my eventual goal is that you prove yourself. I promote from within and make you a team leader, and you teach someone else to do this task.
Brilliant.
And they take ownership of it as well.
Yeah.
So that's the end goal of really everything. And what we had to free up, like billing, it wasn't Nathan constantly in billing every day. We had someone who was in charge of billing, and same thing with customer service and all of that. So you don't get there overnight. People have to remember that hiring leaders and managers externally, not impossible, but very, very hard and risky, because not only are you going to end up paying top dollar for them, but you're not going to know if they're any good until you actually train them on your business and what actually happens. And then even then you have to get everyone else to agree and to buy into, hey, this new person is now your boss. So 3 things have to go well. It happens all the time, but it is a lot harder to do. So I always prefer to hire from within. And you don't want to wake up one day and say, hey, who do I put in charge? I need a team leader. And the only way you're going to know if someone can handle that additional responsibility is if you give them ownership of stuff early on.
Nice. And as a business owner, what would they be doing then if they don't have all these tasks to do? What do you think as an agency owner? What have you seen in the industry that they can go now and do?
Strategy, sales, marketing, expansion. That's really what you're working on. I mean, you run the meetings each week, you set the goals, the KPIs, you're meeting with the team leaders, you're motivating them, and you're coming up with the higher level game plans, working above your business, not just inside of it.
Beautiful. And making decisions on things, people bringing you challenges and you make the decision on that. And maybe you can go out and do some fishing for a day or golf or something, right? Because
100%. That takes some time off.
Got to take some time off. What do you think has been one of the biggest successes in taking a business that had started off with 5,000 and you grew it to 12 million? What was the secret to that you can share with us?
Yeah, I mean, hiring, which we already talked about, but also processes. I mean, if we went to sell free up and the buyers came to us and they said, how does customer service work? And we said, oh, don't worry about it. It's in our head. Or we said, hey, don't worry about it. Jane in customer service, she knows what she's doing. Like, they're not buying that business. We need to own the systems and the processes. And that comes down to really good standard operating procedures. We even created a tool, Simply SOP, to just create and share SOPs at a very high level. But the SOPs have to show who does what when in every single situation. And the new owners obviously took those SOPs and made them better and made their changes, made those tweaks. But SOPs make you scalable, they make you sellable, and they also protect your business from turnover and reduce the amount of time it takes you to retain a new person. Now, you should do everything possible to reduce turnover anyway, and I have different tactics for that, but you want to own the systems and process in your business. And if your entire hiring strategy is just hiring someone else that already knows what they're doing without creating the systems, eventually that's going to come back to bite you, and that other person has all the leverage in the world against you.
Amazing. Yeah, definitely processes. Because even if you're selling, and a lot of people are looking at buying agencies and selling agencies at the moment, and that's some of the criteria. You can look at a team and go, oh, there's some great people on the team. But if they've got the secret sauce in their head and you buy the agency and then they leave, if the SOP isn't down, the processes aren't down, the secret sauce isn't written down, that IP could be walking out the door, right?
100%.
Yeah, it can be really challenging. What have you seen that's been interesting over the last few months? Obviously, we've had a health pandemic. There's a lot going on in the world. What part of America are you based in, or are you based in America? I made a presumption with your accent.
I'm in Florida. That's a good presumption.
Yeah, well, you never know. No, I've been speaking to Americans who scarpered off and went down to Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, and just living the dream down there. But what have you seen that's been innovative in your business? Obviously, you started Outsource School, and that was at the beginning of the pandemic. But a lot of companies have kind of changed things and done things differently. Have you seen things in the Florida area, or have you seen things in the e-commerce and marketing industries that you work in that has been innovative in this really crazy time that we're living in?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen lots of programs move virtual. I've even seen like my gym down the street, they're live streaming classes now. So I think every business is making those small adjustments. I think that the whole just hiring remote, communicating remote, keeping a culture remote, those are the biggest things people have to change. And people also have to remember we still live in an incredible time for just affordable trial and error. One of my favorite things to do with VAs is hire them part-time and try out something new. That's how I found out that going on podcasts is a good thing to do. I tried it out, and sometimes you try something out and it doesn't work and you pull back, and other times you try something out and you double down on it. So low risk, high reward situations. We just live in an incredible time to do low risk and high reward trial and error in all parts of your business.
And it's good for the person on the other side as well, because they might just work with you for a project and try something. But people, a lot of, especially young people, aren't looking for jobs for life anymore. They would love to work on something for 90 days and see how it goes. There's a lot more of that receptiveness. So there's no burden on, oh, I must hire someone and keep them for 5 years, right? There's a lot more openness to, hey, let's try this for 6 months.
So here's the key when you're an agency. You have all these specialists, right? The doers. Like you might need video editors, you might need graphic designers, you might need writers. But every single time you have a job, you don't want to have to stop what you're doing and interview someone. The better strategy is to build a Rolodex of reliable people that you can go to and create a win-win for both you and them. So I have 3 video editors. I have 3 graphic designers. They're all in a group chat on Slack. And I post in there, I say, hey, I have a project. Who can get to it first? Someone says me, they give me a due date. They give me a due time. I either approve it or I say, hey, can anyone else get it done faster? And that's what you want. You want to over time build up a Rolodex of reliable people you can go to that know your style, who you don't have to train every single time. And it comes down to that, but you can't have on-call and urgent work. So I can't go to them and say, hey, drop what you're doing and do this project right now. If I do that over and over again, they're not going to want to work with me. Now, here and there, can I go to them and say, hey, Andrew, I'm so sorry. Like I have this. Is there any way you can get it done at the end of the day? Yes, but maybe he's too busy. That's possible too. But you can't overplay that hand. So a lot of people either wait until they have a project and then they start the hiring to find that video editor, or they're constantly throwing these on-call people who have other clients on-call and urgent work, and that destroys the relationship. If your business depends on on-call and urgent work, you have to hire people for more consistent hours.
Yeah, a lot of people right now were forced into the work remote. So I get the, if you have decided you've worked in a particular position and you've gone, you know what, I'm going to put myself up on Upwork. I'm going to be a VA. I can work from home. I'm comfortable with this. But in a lot of instances, agencies were forced to close their office and send their team home. And sometimes people have struggled. Is there any tips that you give to help a person who might not be a natural work from home transition to being more comfortable, being more organized, working from home?
Yeah, to me, it's designing your ideal day. So for me, I like waking up at 7. I do my most important thing first thing in the morning. I work out right after that for an hour, no work, no laptop. After that, I do 1 podcast a day. You're my 1 podcast a day. I learned that I like doing them right in the afternoon, not when I wake up, not later in the day. And then the second half of my day, the noon to 3, phone calls, meetings, stuff like that, where I don't have to be in my office. I can be outside walking my dogs and at the park or whatever. And then my day ends at 3, and then it's time to spend time with my family. So I think that's my ideal day. Other people might have their most productive times at 2 a.m. and that's fine too. But figure out what is your most ideal day looks like, and figure out can you get that day every single day.
Brilliant advice. And then everyone in the agency, they can overlap the times that they need to be, okay, we've got the team meeting at this time. But like you said, someone might wake up and go, do you know what? If I get up and do all my emails and my work for 2 hours and then go and work out, but sometimes people can't focus on their workout because they're too busy working about the emails. But if the agreed time, like you set communication guidelines in the agency and go, if everyone can be available, these are the meetings and these are the online times, figure out the rest yourself. And you then as a person figure out, what do I love doing? What's better for me? Is getting up and working the best thing so that I can go and work out, or the other way around, or going outside for a walk and maybe doing your emails on your walk, whatever it is about figuring out your I know it sounds overused, but your daily routine, your morning routines, your evening routines, right?
100%.
Very cool. What kind of workouts do you do? Am I going to guess CrossFit?
And I dipped in CrossFit before, but usually they're very similar. High intensity workouts, not
Right.
CrossFit, but I don't really do anything with heavy weights, but it is very intense cardio and all of that.
Yeah, I could tell. I thought you might have a bit of CrossFit. I can tell them. I used to do it myself. We're a certain breed.
For sure.
What have you loved about Florida? Kind of had an unusual sort of lockdown situation. Was it full lockdown? Did you go into lockdown? Did you shut down yourself?
Yeah, we had full lockdown. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of back to normal now. I'm actually in the process of heading out to Denver too. So I've been spending time out there, which is a lot more open. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I can't really complain overall. Very fortunate.
What did you love about being the last few months? What were you excited about? Were you excited about having more time to work on your new business?
Yeah, I mean, starting a new business is always fun. I mean, I'm on startup number 3. I can hit the ground running a lot faster. I know things not to do. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's a fun new adventure, and my life's a lot more stress-free after I sold the company as well.
What are you focusing on over the next 6 months, Nathan, then? So what's the next phase? You've been through the very eye of the storm here for the beginning of the year. What are you looking forward to for the next 6 months for Outsource School?
Yeah, I mean, growing our library of SOPs, that's a big one. We have our software simply SOP that we launched earlier this year that we're continuing to add stuff through, and eventually we wanted everything in the software. Growing brand awareness. I think there's some, like any business, message clarity, like how do we relay what we do better and better and better, and that will come over time. So I'm excited with that. But yeah, just the overall helping entrepreneurs, it's a lot of fun, and listening to feedback, and we've been able to make a lot of impact. And how do we take that feedback and continue to adjust and get better and get our message out there?
Brilliant. You've obviously do your work-life balance. You have you're working out, which is really good, doing your phone calls outside, and very organized on your day, like you know what that is. What else do you do to help you with work-life balance in your role?
I read. I set up different times for that. I have other projects, like I'm learning Vietnamese on the side and things like that. So just trying to be more well balanced and be able to break away from work.
And what do? You said you hide your phone. Tell us about that.
I give it to my fiance, and then I can't do anything.
That's a great way of keeping family balance and family relationships going. Well, Nathan, what is your big tip for agencies? And then tell us how we can actually find you. And you do have a special offer for us, which is really cool.
Yeah. So my tip is focus on getting 5 hours a week back. That's your
Oh,
first goal. If you can
love
get
that.
5 hours a week from on a day to day, maybe that's 5 extra hours with your family, 5 extra hours on sales, marketing, expansion. If you want help doing that, go to Outsource School. If you go to outsourceschool.com/enroll, you can use coupon GROW IT. It's going to save you 10% on your enrollment fee, and it's 10% every year that you're enrolled going forward. So you can save a lot of money. And you can also grab a free trial right on the site. You can book a phone call right on the site, and feel free to follow me, Nathan Hirsch, on any social media channel.
I love that. That's so cool. I've one little last question for you. If I came in and if I took the keys of Outsource School and said, sorry, Nathan, I'm closing everything down right now, what would you do?
Keep trying, coming up with other ideas. I mean, that's really, even when, like, if you asked me 10 years ago if I'd be selling baby products on Amazon, I wouldn't have believed you. If you asked me 7 years ago if I'd be running a freelance marketplace, I wouldn't believe you. If you asked me even last year if I would have sold my company, I wouldn't have believed you. So I never really know what's next, but I know that I would be doing something online and doing trial and error until I figure it out.
It'd be definitely something vibrant and exciting. I absolutely love your energy. I really appreciate you being on the podcast today and sharing all that absolute valuable advice. So agency owners out there, imagine what you could do with 5 extra hours a week, which is 20 hours a month. It would be a life change. What could you do? You often hear people going, oh, if only I had the time. Now, we were all given a lot of time in lockdown, but sometimes that other things ate up into it. So Nathan, thank you so much for being on the show. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thanks for having me, and you too.